Dark Fortunes podcast is produced using safety tools at the table to ensure both safety and fun for all cast members. If you'd like to learn more and implement safety tools at your own table, visit bit.ly/TTRPG Safety Toolkit. That's bit.ly/TTRPG Safety Toolkit.
Arise, minions, and batten down the hatches as we leave behind the safety of the Humblewood to check in with the crew of Dark Fortunes.
Hello. I'm Rory, aka Final Gambit, and I will be playing Silence Furuiken, Level 3 Mapok Warlock.
Hi, I'm V-Muse. I'm playing Sionnach MacTyre, Level 3 Vulpin Fighter.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm playing Mimir Elderbrand, Level 3 Corbin Bard.
Hi, I'm McLurkin. I'm playing Auryn Stormbringer, the Level 3 Servant Barbarian.
Hi, my name is Johnny. I'm the Dungeon Master. Welcome to the Dark Fortunes podcast.
This episode is brought to you by our friends over at Hero Forge. You have heard of Hero Forge, right? Well, then allow me to tell you about it. Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop miniatures with dozens of fantasy races and thousands of parts to choose from. They have an easy-to-use design tool that lets you build your perfect miniature using a fully 3D in-depth character creator right on your web browser. These minis are available in a variety of materials including plastic and metal, as well as a downloadable file for use at home if you have your own 3D printer. The best part about Hero Forge is they are constantly expanding the catalog of customization options, adding new parts every week and major features like races and custom posing options. So head over to HeroForge.com and start designing your custom miniature today. And be sure to tell them that Dark Fortune sent you.
Previously on Dark Fortunes. The rat-infested keel of the capsized ship gave way to a mountain of useful items, making the detour a worthwhile endeavor. But whatever treasure lay in the hull is what had Mimir's interest, and what guarded it had Sionnach's.
The hulking Mapok begins to rise from his position after being touched. You shouldn't have done that. He stands up and turns, and in his paws are a rapier and a dagger. His fur under his clothing is matted where you can see spots of it. There are patches missing. You can see that there is a scar on his face, but he is still sort of caught in the shadows of this place. The light down here seems, the aura of like darkness around him seems to expand a little bit as you see him stand up and turn, and he moves in slowly, stepping forward. You shouldn't have done that. Initiative.
Now, I was closest to him because I was going to tie him up, yes?
You were going to tie him up, that is correct. And with this fight, you guys are level 3.
Woo!
I rolled a 5.
I have a 17.
To celebrate, I rolled a 22 because I rolled a natural 20.
Look at you go.
I also rolled a 5. Or I got a 5. I rolled a 4. No, plus 2, 6. Never mind, I'm dumb. I'm math.
I'll just put all of you on my back then.
Please just carry us all out.
I'm not even there, so...
Okay, so the initiative order, as I understand it, is the following. Silence at 22, Mac at 17, Donavio at 15, Auryn at 6, and Mim at 5. Is that correct?
That sounds right.
Okay. Silence. This guy is 6 feet tall. This is one of the biggest Mapoks you've ever seen. Like, he looks like a grotesque raccoon. He is just gigantic, and his claws, like his paws, like the claws on his paws are like his paws are like a little emaciated, and you can see the bones under them, but the actual claws themselves look elongated. It's pretty intense. And the smell coming off of him, since you were the closest, since he stood up, you can smell a combination of alcohol and sweat, and it is not pleasant.
So it's fair to say he's aggressive towards me.
He's moving towards you. He has not made his attack yet.
Okay. Well, if he smells bad, I could just make him smell worse. I will... If I turned to leave, would I incur a attack of opportunity against me?
Since you are first in the initiative order and he started to rise, I'm going to give you an opportunity to do something completely without any penalty whatsoever. You are close to him, but he's basically, as he's standing up, he's basically telegraphing his entire sort of movement. It's very slow, very like there's a lot of effort going into what he's doing, and you can see as he stands up, there's a jug sort of floating in the water away from the position where he was. So he was clearly drinking at that point.
Well, I will turn as if to leave. I will raise my tail, and I will empty my mercaptan gland, as any good skunk would do, and just spray him with my awful stink. So that would be a con save for you.
I have one question for you.
Yes.
What is the area of effect on that?
It is a cone. Well, it's either I do it as an AoE around me, or I do it as a cone, and I'd rather do it as a cone.
Okay.
I know others are nearby, but
I don't
this is my
want it
first
on me.
instinct. I'm scared.
I don't want the stink. This is appreciated.
Well, I'm trying to understand if there's any situation where that would come reverberating back or come like coming back towards, because he's at the far end of the cabin area, this under the area part of the deck as we described it. He was all the way in the dark towards the front of the ship, right? And so it's not like it's going to come billowing back towards. I'm just wondering what's going to happen if somebody either steps forward or steps into a position to kind of flank him or whatever. But anyways, that's just me kind of figuring out the situation. So okay, he needs a con save, right? Oh, he makes it.
Okay, good. That's thrilling. So that was my action. As a bonus action, while moving maybe like 15-20 feet away to get closer to Mim, Silence will take his hand back and grab his sword, but instead of just pulling it out of the sheath, he just kind of pulls it forward, and the blade just kind of magically pulls away from the sheath, as this is my my hexblade weapon that I can just summon. So instead of summoning it, it's basically like making it ethereally go through the sheath as I pull it in front of me and hide like next to Mim. And it may help Mim, I don't know.
Okay, so let's step back for just a second and kind of set the scene again. You were the one stepping forward to specifically tie this particular individual up.
Correct.
However, if I remember, Mac and Mim were actually pretty close behind, because Mim had his detect magic fired up and was like paying attention to the fact that this guy, this Denavio, had some magic going on with him.
I feel like you named him just to be able to say it over and over again.
There are a couple things that I named specifically so that I could say it over again. Wait till we get to Porto Lavaio.
Porto Lavaio.
Anyways, so how close are you guys to what was Mac and Mim doing while
I
Silence
feel like
was
we're
beginning
right
to...
there.
Yeah, I mean, we were pretty close by and at the ready. Like, as soon as Mac knows that Mimir's up to checking things out, she's gonna have hands ready on her scimitars.
Yeah, because Mac and Mim were over the guy talking to him, and then we were like, we gotta tie him up to take him. So we took a step back and said, Silence, help us tie this guy up.
Yeah.
So I think, or because Silence cut the ropes down from like the overturned
areas,
rigging and stuff from So I think we're like right next to you.
Yeah, we're not too far away.
I think it's pretty obvious that once I shoot this spray, you guys would be like, we should probably back up a little bit.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever seen it, but like also I don't need to see that to know what's up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not many people point their ass at people, and so I have a concern as soon as I see it happen.
That contends, darling.
But I will go like 10 feet away to get behind Mim a little bit.
Okay. So, all right. Just to remind you guys, the water level is about hip height for most of all of you. I think for Mim it might be just under hip height because he's a little bit taller, but otherwise, so that this is considered difficult terrain here. Movement is pretty crappy. All right, so Silence, you move back. Mac, you see all this happen. You're next up. You're kind of seeing the situation, and you see this hulking Mawpock just not swinging out and being aggressive in that sense, but just using their presence to just kind of like fill the room with their rage. You can see that it's building.
Okay, I think, knowing her, she's gonna try and get this under control first before starting to swing, but hands are still on scimitars. She's gonna try using her Bewitching Guile, which is a Vulpin trait, and looking into charming him to see if by chance she can get him to calm down. So that's a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. What's the DC?
That is what I'm trying to figure out right now, because Roll20 didn't like the fact I plugged this in. Hold on. Going back. It's going to be a DC of 12.
What do you say to him?
Mind you, you did just watch me squirt him with stink.
Yes.
So this better be good.
Yes. She'll sort of like do like that hypnotic, low and even tone voice that just runs itself like a river. I know you're mad and you've been cooped up here for a very long time, and I'm sure that this, and she's waving her hand in the stench bomb zone, not in it, but like towards it. I'm sure this is probably not helping the situation, but maybe, just maybe, we could talk things through instead of swinging our fists and such.
Sadly, he made his saving throw. You know nothing. You know none of my trials. You do not understand what you have done. And as he takes a step forward towards you more aggressively, for the first time, it seems like his movement is even sort of like more exaggerated, and his foot comes down and you hear a thump, and with that thump, the entire ship's hull sort of creaks just a little bit.
Okay, so is he in his turn right now?
He's about to, yes.
Okay, so since I didn't take my movement yet, I'm going to...
Well, yeah.
Because there should be distance between us enough based on what we just talked about. So take a few steps back, just to kind of not be in punching range.
Well, so remember, he's got rapiers, or he's got a rapier and a dagger, so...
Yeah, she's getting out of swing range, is what I mean.
Totally. Okay. All right. Did you want to do anything else before that's done?
I can just do the casting of the spell. That's my action there.
Okay. All right. He slowly stamps forward, and with each step, the ship creaks and shakes a little bit. And we're going to cut for just a quick second to Auryn, who's on the sort of the hull on the outside of the capsized ship, and things are creaking, and vibrating in such an unusual fashion.
I was because I just delivered the barrels and stuff like that, and so I was just getting back to the ship, or like climbing back up. So everything's like starting to creak as I climb back up.
That's correct. So as you're like, it seems like there's a weirdness in the rhythm and the timing of it. It's almost at first like Auryn realizes that he might be too strong for the ship's sort of hull as he's kind of grabbing and climbing up. But the sort of the creaking then happens in a way that it doesn't coincide with any, like, you know, you reaching or kind of putting your hooves, you know, to kind of like bring yourself up onto the hull itself. And so you kind of notice this as it's happening, and I just wanted to give like sort of an outside perspective of what was going on. So we're going to cut back into the room now. And this Mawpock just kind of moves forward. You're going to pay the price. You're going to pay Maru's price. And he just he comes up and he starts to swing, and he's going to take his first. Well, so Mac, when you kind of like stepped back, did you step back next to basically where Silence is, or is it like like what? Tell me about how you put yourself in a better position for combat.
It being the situation where I know that Silence is behind me and covered because she's fully aware, he is a little bit smaller than she is, and she isn't sure if it's one of those things where, with her ability to get some extra swings in, if it's more like draw attention to herself than the others, essentially.
Okay.
So she has scimitars drawn and out and ready in like stance mode, essentially.
Mim, I'm going to assume that you were pretty far back anyways in this particular situation, that you were behind all of them, and so I'm just going to assume that you're not in range at this particular point.
Sure.
This is at. All right, so this Mawpak just continues to stomp forward, closing the distance, and begins to swing. And the first swing is going to be his rapier. And he's going to go after Mac. Does an 11 hit? All right. The blade swings and sort of... Tell me how you kind of dodge this particular, this swipe that's coming from the rapier.
Well, Mac is very used to, swinging, rigging, and ropes. So for her, it's more of a just arching her body in a certain way so that it glazes by her face, and it's one of those things where she might feel the breeze of it, but it doesn't make contact with her, and it's almost a second nature motion, as if this is something she has to deal with all the time anyways.
And as that swing comes around, you see that the swing actually comes again, coming from him. How about a 20? Does a 20 hit?
Yeah, 20 hits.
All right. So the blade kind of comes in and, brings with it 5 points of damage as it kind of slices across you wherever it kind of lands. To which point he then brings in his rapier, or his dagger. And an 11 is not going to hit, so... Like, just the swing, it's a swipe of, a swipe from right to left, then a left to the right, and then, a push in with a dagger. The first one misses, the second one kind of cuts you a little bit, and the third one kind of pushes you back a little bit, but doesn't land as he tried to bring you in closer. And you can see that the frothing sort of anger and rage on his face continues. Morrow's gonna get you. And just continues to push forward. To which we cut to Auryn. You hear on the outside of the hole a little bit of commotion or noise, but you can't quite make it out. It's like voices, but you can't get a clear sort of sense of what's going on. But you do feel that with there occasionally again is that rhythm of the hole sort of shaking a little bit.
Do I smell anything?
Give me a perception roll.
That is a nat 1. So I think a total of... I think I have a 3. Hold on, let me double check. No, I have I have a 3. So 4 total.
All right. So what you basically smell is the salt air. You haven't quite figured out swimming yet to the point where you keep your nose sort of not filled with salt water. So you're having a little bit of trouble. Mm-hmm. So you're there's this issue of grossness and snot and all of that. But otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, so basically I'm just getting...
And as you're doing that, you hear more sound and another sort of thump a little bit. Do you want to do anything else?
I go inside of the ship and start making my way towards the point where I can't go further, and going oh, hello.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. So perception was your action here. This is your movement. Mm-hmm. Your movement is restricted significantly. So because you can't get through because of your 14-point antlers, you can't actually get into the hole easily. So your entire action will be for you to navigate your head and body into the actual ship itself, but you are able to kind of get in, and your antlers are definitely going to be scraping against the sort of the inside of the hull. First thing to tell you to note, this is difficult terrain. and the way your antlers are scraping, even though they might dig into, your movement is still pretty restricted at this point. It's going to be hard for you to shift and move. So combat in here for you is probably going to be at disadvantage unless we can figure out an argument as to why it's not going to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So for the three of you down below deck, you hear finally a thump from above you, and you can hear the hooves of Auryn just kind of like dropping down onto, and you hear a little bit of scraping, and you hear him sort of yell out, "Hello." Mim, you are up.
This guy looks very scary, correct? Scary.
He looks like a sea dog who has been at sea for way too long and just wants to be left alone. And yeah, he's very angry. It's pretty bad.
He looked kind of deadish before, like about to die, right?
He looked dead, yes, and he smelled like he was dead, and he was snoring like he had given up life.
Right, and now he looks quite the opposite.
Oh yeah.
I think Mim, from where he is, he like reaches down to like a side like pocket, and he pulls out a piece of iron, like probably like 3 inches long, and he's holding it between his index and thumb, and like very quickly he like snatches it with his whole fist. And as he does, you can see like the tip, like the top above his fist and the bottom below his fist of this iron begin to like glow. And he just looks like steely-eyed at this creature and just says, "No!" And I'm casting Hold Person, so I need a Wisdom saving throw from you. DC 13.
He fails that, and so tell me the moment that you catch him. What position is he in when he's caught?
I think so. The way I imagine this going is the way that he is squeezing this little iron rod. You see him. You see this guy. This Denavio. His arms cinch up to his hands, and if you're looking closely, like if you have dark vision, I guess, and looking closely, it looks like there is the pressure of like fingers and a thumb squeezing him. So you can see those like indentations on his arm. 4 on one arm and 1 on the other arm, as if like he's being held like a toy, as he is like pinned to himself, and he becomes incapacitated. So he is paralyzed and incapacitated. He automatically fails strength and dex saving throws. Attack rolls against him have advantage, and any attack roll that hits him is a crit, as long as it's within 5 feet. And at the end of his turn, he can make a subsequent roll to break free. I think Mim kind of looks to Sionnach and Silence at this point. Either we need to kill him now, or we need to go. This only lasts for a little while.
Define a little while.
About a minute, or until he breaks free.
Sionnach will look between the entrance and the water, knowing full well there's going to be drag involved. Would we be able to cut out in a minute, like get towards the entrance and make distance?
So remember that you've got the entire hold, the lower hold. You're probably a third of the way back towards where the essentially the gaping hole in what would be the floor, which would lead down, but actually it's above you. So
right.
You could make it back there, and probably scramble up in this particular time frame, because you're about to start the next, essentially the next round.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mim is the only one down here that is after Denavio, in respect to the order. So Mim is going to be the last one to kind of suffer in this particular situation. But you should be able to get up and above pretty quickly. I wouldn't think that in this particular situation either you or Silence would need to roll anything that would prevent you from getting up into the upper level of the ship at this point.
And the upper level of the ship is dry, right?
The upper level of the ship is dry. However, it is still filled with lots of cargo, so it still is considered difficult.
All right.
That's where the rats were, and that's where you were all navigating cargo in there.
Okay. She'd look to the two, Silence and Mimir.
I'll stay behind if you want. Or we all go.
He does have the magical artifact on him. Whatever it was.
But fighting in this place is not wise, Mimir. We must...
Oh, I know.
We must back out and then fight him in a more ideal location.
Retreat in hope of pursuit.
Yes.
She'll
Perhaps
nod
we
her
could
head. Oops,
we
sorry.
could make jeers at him and he could follow if they are nasty enough.
I don't think we need to provoke him any further, but I like how you're
Don't worry.
thinking.
I've got that.
You always do.
Yeah, so it'll be a matter of get to literal higher ground.
All right. So the rounds. So Mim has taken his action.
Yeah, so I think Mim will move once that discussion happens, and then Mim will start to wade out.
All right. So you can see that this creature, this Mawpok, is just being held, and you can see the rage building, but nothing that he is doing at this point is breaking him away, and he is still sort of like angry and frothing, and he's muttering things about Moru, and he's muttering, should have left me alone. But you can, it's like more sort of like lower guttural. It's like not because he's not able to broadcast, because he's not able to move and use his rage. And so, Mim, you move back, and the start of the initiative order comes to Silence. Silence, I'm assuming you're moving back and then making your way up.
Well, the surrounding area around me is like broken down wreckage of a boat. And I imagine, so since this is hindering terrain, we're moving at half speed, so my 30 goes down to 15 feet.
That's correct.
Now, I have a climbing speed of 20 feet. Could I perhaps get partly on the wall and ceiling with my little skunk claws and try and go 20 feet instead of 15 feet by, scrambling across the wall and ceiling?
You sure can. You can basically close the distance to with your movement, you can close the distance to get back to the way up, essentially.
Because I'm part Mawpok and we have advantage on climbing checks, and we have increased climbing speed because of it, so we are... And you know what was really funny is a few days ago, there's this mama raccoon with 5 little baby raccoons that live outside of my place, and I was watching those little baby raccoons go up and down the trees, and I was like, wow, they are very good at that. And I was like, that explains it. That explains why Silence is so good at climbing. Thought I would just throw out that little little story. You're welcome.
Those are called kits, right?
I think so, yeah.
I agree. You should take them. All right. So Silence is able to maneuver his way back towards, easily towards the sort of the entryway up.
Okay.
That's your movement. Do you want to take an action of some kind? Do you want to lift yourself up to the next level using your action? You can do that, or are you going to stay down here and just...
I want to ensure that this person comes after us, which they might not after they're free from this spell that Mimir has cast on them. So I will take hold of my wakizashi and I will point it at him, the small blade at my hip, and say, "Follow me!" as I shoot an Eldritch Blast at him.
Wow.
Bonus action. Before I do that, bonus action, I'm gonna hit him with my Hexblade Curse, which just is a curse that is now upon him.
How close are you to him?
This is probably it's probably 30 feet at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
Word.
All right. What's the max damage on that?
Well,
it's a crit. Remember, it's a crit.
It's only a crit if you're within 5 feet.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, you're right.
Well, never mind. That was like an 8 to hit, so that will not be hitting.
Oh.
But the message was sent. He knows what's up. He knows who's boss.
You do have advantage.
Oh, do I? Oh, well, let me roll that again.
Yes.
Well, that's a 9 instead of an 8.
Nailed it.
Good job.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So the energy is just sort of like as this comes out, it dances across his body and just kind of dissipates.
To be fair, it looks pretty. This crackling purple energy. As it swings past his head.
The crackling purple energy sort of dances along him, and it lights up his eyes, and you can see the rage in his eyes. Those beady black eyes just kind of looking out at you.
Then I'll go, when I see that, and go like, we should make haste. Faster would be better.
All right, Mac, you are up.
All right. Seeing Silence do what he was trying to do and the retreat and everything like that, she will definitely start to make her way away as well. Can I use dash for this?
You'll be able to close the distance.
Okay.
Without dash, you're welcome to. You're welcome to use it and get to, get up above to the next level essentially. Otherwise, yeah, you're gonna be able to close the distance to the sort of the hole in the ceiling that you're gonna be able to get up to the next level on.
Okay. Yeah. At least get positioned to the entrance where we are right now to get up to the top deck. Not the top deck, but the upper level.
All right. So it's Donavio's turn, and he's going to attempt to resist this particular situation. Yeah. No. A 2 just. With another, +2 from his wisdom, that's just not going to work. As the resistance, he begins to rage and try to break from this, the glowing part of the iron, Mim, grows even brighter for a second, as if your will is just sort of holding them, and it's only your will and nothing else. And so you don't feel the sort of the raging sort of like fire-ish energy, the burn that's coming from this, but it is happening. To which we cut. To which we cut to Auryn.
Hello, it's me, Auryn.
What are you doing, buddy?
What do I hear? I just got in, and I was like, hello, and then no one said anything. Am I hearing combat?
You are hearing splashing and scrambling, and you start to hear the conversation. You don't catch every word, but you get the gist of something's wrong down below, and you hear that they're making haste.
I just get to where I can get to a point to help them back up, and go, and stick my arm out to grab whoever comes up first, and be like, grab my hand. I don't know what is happening. So you're able to kind of navigate and move your way from the hole all the way through the sort of the hold itself, and you hear Auryn's voice as the three of you are just sort of standing under the sort of this gaping hole in the ceiling. You hear Auryn's voice sort of speaking out to you, and you see his pawed hand kind of reach down, or hooved hand. I don't remember how the servants. It's like a hand with little hooved fingernail claw things on it.
So it's just you see his outreached arm.
We all know that the worst part about playing a spellcaster in your favorite 5th edition fantasy RPG is having to write down all of the intricate details of every spell in your notebook, or flipping to the back of the book every time you forget what a spell does. But what if I told you there was a better way? Lucky for you, there is. Our friends over at Hit Point Press are launching their new Kickstarter for the Deck of Many animated spells. This new Kickstarter will include waterproof, artistic renderings of spells levels 6 through 9, as well as a fully animated tarot deck for all your soothsaying needs. Not to mention, animated condition cards if we hit our stretch goals. So if you want to enhance your level of play at the table, head on over to rebrand.ly/DFP spells and pledge for your very own deck of animated spells. That's rebrand.ly/DFP spells, and be sure to tell them Dark Fortunes Podcast sent you. And as always, happy gaming.
Mim, you're up.
I think I'm the closest to this guy. I don't like that at all. Yeah, I'm gonna slowly back away, right? And then I am going to antagonize him. Because why wouldn't I? So still holding the iron rod, he looks to this guy and says, well, you talked a big game, but look, here you are. And he squeezes it, and you can see the pressure on the arms kind of go, as if the more he squeezes on the rod, the more it impacts him. And I'm going to cast Vicious Mockery on him. So that is another wisdom saving throw.
Yeah, he fails.
Great. He takes 1 point of damage, 1 point of psychic damage, and he has disadvantage on his next attack. Which doesn't count because his next move is to break free. That's it. He takes 1 point of sass damage.
So his next attack is at disadvantage. Does that mean that it still lasts until his next attack?
It has disadvantage on the next attack roll it makes before the end of its next turn.
Then the next turn. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And hold person says at the end of your turn you can make a check. So the check is the end of your turn.
All right, so you sass him, and you see that there is a moment of discomfort that crosses his eyes, but otherwise, yeah, he appears to be continuing to rage at this point.
And Mim is still looking at him, and he is slowly has one hand on the wall, and he's slowly backing up towards where he knows Sionnach and Silence to be.
All right, so you're able to kind of back up towards, and you still have a little bit of movement range left if you want. Do you take Auryn's outreached hand?
Nope. He kind of like is still staring at this guy, and whoever's behind him, he just kind of like flails. Go, get up.
As he's doing that, like, can I see them?
You can. They're definitely in shadows, and you can see the water and debris in the sort of like below. It's like murky vision. But I believe you have dark vision. Is that correct?
No, servants do
okay,
not.
All right. So no, you can see their outlines. You can see bits of patches of them essentially. But yeah, you can see that they're below you.
The one thing, can I see Mimsy like doing that, like trying to rush everyone else?
Yep.
So I'm gonna be like, everyone can grab my arm. I can lift all of you at once.
Okay.
Mim does not. He continues to say go.
All right. So as that interaction is happening, we get to the top of the initiative order. Silence. It is all you, buddy.
Oh, Doyle rules. All right. So, climbing up on the wall and ceiling, I'm just gonna go as fast as mapakly possible. And as soon as I see Auryn, I'm gonna be like, "Senpai!" and just rush towards him, gliding, just wrap myself around his arm, and I'm like 2 pounds, except I'm wet, so I'm like 3 pounds now. I could give you...
You do have a big, like, heavy sword that you'd carry along with you.
Technically, it's ethereal. It doesn't exist until I hold it in my hands. And I could just throw it away, and it'll come back to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's...
Yeah, Warlock of the Sword Pack. That's what happens at level 3.
You brought this upon yourself.
Well, no, I'm having this wonderful vision of like you just like letting the sword go and just turning around and kind of grabbing onto
basically
his outreached arm. All right, and so you're accepting him pulling you up. Okay.
Yes, and I am 30 pounds.
Right. So I'm going to assume this is like a held action, and Auryn just kind of like whisks you up, and you just like it's like whoa, kind of like you're tiny to him, you're tiny to his strength, and he just pulls you up and out.
That's why he's my senpai.
So the thing is as a servant, I think it's either my sub race that I picked or it's an actual servant thing. I can carry double my weight capacity. And so 30 pounds is nothing. The only thing that is heavy on me is my great axe. I'm otherwise just wearing shorts and suspenders and don't have any other items on me. So I could probably grab everyone, or everyone grab onto my arm, and I just pull them up.
Did that use my action at all when I did that? Or is that just movement?
I'm going to consider that your movement.
Okay. As an action, I'll cast Prestidigitation, and there's like a bunch of illusionary sparkles that like happen between him and I when I go senpai. And as we get closer, like I pull through it, and it's just this beautiful moment. Very, very Sailor Moon, twinkling little glimmering things.
Can you please describe the music that goes along with that?
Also, could someone draw this? That'd be great.
It sounds like cha-la, head cha-la. Cha-la. It's very DBZ.
I stand this. This is...
I'm okay with everything happening here.
All right, Mac, you're gonna have to follow up to this amazing sort of moment.
Your move, Tearbringer.
She'll look over to Mimsy. Well, looks like we have a lift.
When I look away, it breaks. So go. Get up.
Are you sure?
It's fine.
She'll reach up and grab Auryn's arm then. As well. But, like, just has this grit of her teeth while she's looking down to Mimir, not wanting to leave, but knowing that this is not the place for the fight.
Okay. Auryn is able to bring you up as well, and we're going to consider that your movement.
Okay.
Is there any action that you want to take after that?
I am going to get in position and hold my action right above the opening of the 2 floors, so that it's as if he starts coming up through there, I want to be able to start swinging with both scimitars.
Totally. Okay. All right. So you're looking down. Mim is the only one down there left. The brand, the iron and the sort of the heated part of it just glowing incredibly bright, and it's starting to kind of flicker a little bit. To which it's now Denavio's turn, and he's going to roll again. DC was 12, right?
13.
13. The brand, or the glowing sort of part of the iron, glows even brighter. Just like its intensity is almost blinding a little bit. But he's still held.
Get wrecked.
And you can hear the rage, building in him as the mumbling of Maru about shouldn't have done this, just wanted to be left alone. All of that starts to become even more incoherent. It's like the holding of him is painful and denial, and you begin to hear small sort of like groans of like as if he was being like cut by 1,000 like papers, like paper cuts, like just it's almost like Maru, just it's just the idea of holding him is just super intense. It's overwhelming for him. And it is now Auryn's turn.
Does he look like he's injured or
no
being injured? Okay.
What it looks like is that the idea of holding him is actually incredibly painful, but you don't see any visible damage being done to him.
Okay.
How far away is Mimsy from me at this moment?
He's basically at the bottom where you pulled everyone else up. He just didn't grab onto you to get pulled up.
At this point, can I like scruff him and then fucking pull him up? Or be like, come on, and grab him?
You could do that. One, I'm going to ask if Mim's going to allow that. If that's okay.
Yeah, I think as he's sure that everyone else is up, he like starts to raise a hand up. Still looking at this guy.
All right. Because of this situation, because he can't break like eye contact on this particular guy, I'm going to need, we'll call it an athletics roll.
That is a 16.
Yeah, you totally grab him. You just kind of like, you yank him up.
Mm-hmm. It was 11 plus 5, if anyone listening is curious about what those numbers were. So yeah, I pull him up, and I imagine as I get everyone up, I imagine there's some sort of threat down there. At least that's what Auryn is saying, and he's like, fall back to the opening and stay behind me. And then taking out my great axe and standing at the hole, waiting for something to come out, but kind of moving back, making sure they're behind me.
Okay, so I'm gonna have that action happen after Mim's turn, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want if there's anything else that Mim wants to do as he's being pulled out of the hole, I kind of want to give that to him. But otherwise, you guys will be like being pulled back, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I think Mim like gets yanked up, and then you see him like drop to the ground, like almost as if Auryn had dropped him, but like obviously a little bit more dramatic because it's Mim. And he's laying on the ground with like his head in the hole, and he like looks back, and it looks like he's like looking at Sionnach, like Sionnach, or perhaps the gaping hole in the side of the thing. But you see him like look back, and then like he has like a smirk on his beak, and he looks back in, and I'm gonna give one more vicious mockery, I think. Yeah, so he's gonna give one more vicious mockery. He leans back in the thing. So wisdom saving throw DC 13, and he says in a mocking, well, I guess in Mimir's regular tone, it's always mocking. He leans in and says, "Where is your Maru now?" And then pulls his head back up from the hole.
So as the whole person drops, right? We're going with the flavor that it's eye contact, right?
Yep.
That's when the concentration ends. Because you actually could maintain this moving,
Now,
moving through the rest.
I have the narrative.
Okay.
And I want him to come to... That's a taunt.
Right, exactly. So as the whole person begins to drop, you see you all hear sort of what sounds like a splash for a second as his hulking form just kind of like, with all the effort and strain, he drops down a little bit. Like it's almost like he goes to his knees for just a moment. Like, and you can't really see it, but we're gonna cut to like the camera that's below, looking from behind him at the hole where Mim is like being pulled up, and then he's kind of looking down, and then makes that note that says that phrase. He kind of collapses to his knees and slowly rises. My Moru is not mine. Moru is their own, and they will come for you too. Splash, stomp a foot, moving forward, and the whole hull shakes. To which we then cut back up to the upper level with Auryn just kind of like holding his great axe as the rest of you are behind him, and he starts pushing you all back towards. So I'm going to assume for this scene, as the Mawpak Denavio is moving towards the hole, the rest of you are kind of pushing back towards the hole in the outer hull to get out on top. I'm assuming at this particular point. So we'll go quickly through the initiative rolls just to get a sense of what you guys are doing. But we're temporarily out of combat for just the moment. So start with silence. Now that you are up and behind Auryn and like pushing towards, getting to better ground, what are you doing here?
I think I would have, when I jumped into Auryn's, jumped and wrapped myself around his arm, I then scrambled to his back. So feet planted on either side of his neck, at his shoulders, and one hand around the antlers and the other hand with the wakizashi out, ready to cast a spell if need be.
Like Milo, but...
Yeah, but Milo, silence. But more epic.
All right. Mac, what are you doing?
It's one of those things where obviously there's a lot of cargo, so it's backing up still, but also trying to make sure it's in an area where it's easy to start swinging if needed, but still moving backwards. So it's like if there's hanging ropes, slashing at the ropes to get them down and that type of thing.
Right. So you, as the Silence and Mac, as you're kind of pushing your way back towards the hole, you're setting yourselves up. You see the bodies of the rats from the swarm attack. You see you push debris and you cut rigging that was holding things down. But mostly it's you've got just the navigating of the big cargo crates. Otherwise, things seem to be relatively straightforward for you to get back towards. We're going to cut to Denavio. We're going to cut to below deck as his stomping. With each stomp, you feel the hull shake just a little bit, creak or crack, right? And you begin to see just the claws, kind of come up on the hull itself. And that is his round and his movement. As we cut to Auryn, who is backing everybody up, towards that hole. And you, Auryn, see, visibly see his claws kind of coming up over the lip, trying to, like he's beginning to make his way to raise himself up. What do you do?
How far away is he? It'll take him 2 turns to get to us, correct? Or so?
Yeah, you are definitely going to get the advantage here in respects to setting up your position for combat. However, your movement is really restricted because your head is, your antlers are basically scraping along the sides of the the hole at this point. No matter where you are, at some point your head is like restricted.
Are we trying to go outside?
I think we're just backing up to clear some room to get.
We're just backing up to the hole. Okay. So when we get to the breach in the hull, to the skin, what I want to do, I silence is on me, and I, for a second, think about my horns, and there is a point where like the 14 points come out, and it's like a lot of the points come out at like one aspect of it. Like there will be like where the antlers come out, and then they start branching out from there, but there's like a couple like horns right there. I say to Silence, I need you to do something for me, and don't question why. Cut my antlers here and here.
No problem, senpai. Exactly as he says. Just cut his antlers. Like, how deep? I'll ask while he's
off completely.
All right, so Silence will get ready and just like not think about it. Like senpai knows what he's doing, and just in one clean slice as quickly as possible with the wakizashi, just cut those parts of the antler off, however much he was indicated.
I'm speechless. Okay.
I love doing that to DMs so much, where they just never expect what I'm gonna do.
So, real quick question for Silence. The blade, when it cuts, what does the cut look like? Is it a clean cut? Is there a burn? Because it's, it seems more than just the blade itself, like a clean, like metal just cutting. It feels to me more like there's a burn, or there's some other sort of magical element to it that has an impact in this situation.
Well, despite being a blade, it is also, my arcane implement. And the last thing I cast was from out of that was the Eldritch Blast, so there might be a little bit of purple gleam left on it. So if there is anything that feels off, is a little bit of like maybe force damage if he does take damage from it instead of slashing.
Auryn, give me a Constitution saving throw.
18.
You are not damaged. However, with each cut, you feel disoriented. So I don't think it's really going to matter, but you're a little off. I'm not sure what condition I would give this. I'm just going to say that narratively for Auryn, he feels dizzy and a little sick for just a second as each cut happens, and it is very disorienting.
And at that point, as the two horns drop, you and the being, whoever he doesn't even know who it is like coming up. He says to Silence, he's like, I do want to keep those, but I think I'm going to be a little not coherent to talk in 1 second. And then he starts going into a rage.
All right. So is that your action? You're raging now?
My bonus action is me raging. My action, I'm holding my action until he moves up on me. Yes, exactly. If the visual comedy effects that the podcast is missing on is priceless. So go to the Patreon and get access to the videos so you can see the weird things that we do when we're muted. I think at this moment I'm holding my action to get the attack for when they move up on me. My free action was to tell Silence to cut off my antlers at a certain point. and another thing, yeah, and telling him to hang on to my antlers. So I can justify using my action to allow Silence to slice off my antlers. If we want to say that, that's fine. But I'm using my bonus action to rage.
Okay. So you're just holding your action otherwise?
If I still have an action and not saying that Silence's action is sort of mine, if we want to justify that, I'm gonna hold it. Otherwise, I'm fine with losing my action for letting Silence do that.
The rage begins to build in you. We're going to call that your action. And
okay,
right, for Silence, it was a very quick sort of like it was absolutely nothing for him to do that, and at the same time, it was everything to you in that situation. I'm also going to remind you though that we are in difficult terrain, so it's going to be difficult for both you and for the Mawpoc to kind of move in this situation combat wise to close range. Just FYI.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It was more about the horns preventing him from moving, but that's a whole narrative we can get into after if we survive this. But yeah, I'm going into a rage, and that's my turn. Mechanically, am I in a rage?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
You are in rage.
Yeah, and then next turn we can do all that. But yeah, that's my turn.
All right. So the four of you are now at the exit of or you're at the hole, like the hole in the outer. You're in the gaping sort of like wound in the outer hull of this capsized ship. So you, the four of you, basically have the opportunity to escape as well onto the outer side to get the better advantage in respect to the sort of the battle, the field of battle. We'll go quickly through the initiative order again to just kind of figure out what you guys want to do and then when it's Denavio's turn, we'll narrate how he approaches that as well. Silence, you're up first. You've just sliced off Senpai's blades, or like his antlers.
I mean, before he even mentioned, like, I need you to hold on to those, I was already pocketing them. Like, Silence is like, oh, keepsakes? Oh, you want those back? Okay, fine, well, he'll hold on to them.
Those would make incredible blades,
Yeah. I want to sheath the Wakizashi again. Which is just like, back in the hip. And then I'll hold out my hand, and Silence will summon his Masamune blade. And which is my bonus. And I'll hold my action for when Auryn attacks.
I just want to say, this fucking Voltron situation that we have going on, where it's like, it's the Auryn of Silence, like, basically, like, you have a giant sword on top of him, and he's, like, raging with a battle axe. Like, I'd be terrified if I saw that on a battlefield. Just FYI.
It's one might even say it gives us intimidating presence, if that has any bearing on the situation.
Apparently, originally I was assuming with Milo it was more of a Master Blaster kind of a situation, but I guess Silence counts as a Master Blaster moment if he gets on your shoulders.
Yeah.
I mean, technically everyone looks tiny on Auryn, but
that's fair.
I feel like Milo is like the headmaster in Transformers, where it's like, and he comes on and he's like, Auryn, do this thing, and he tells him what to do.
So I will hold my action to attack when Auryn attacks. So we'll just do a double attack.
All right. Mac, you're up.
Absolutely one of those things where it's like, have it where it's close enough to get up and out if needed, but also holding action because she's not going to be the first out of that ship and leave everyone else behind. It's not how she functions.
Okay. And Denavio then pulls himself slowly up. And as he does, you can see his hulking form come into view. You hear a little bit of splitting and cracking coming from where his claws have dug into sort of the deck itself. And as you hear that, You also hear creaks around the ship just a little bit that sound more off than you would expect from the way that the ship is listing as it's capsized. Eventually, he pulls himself all the way up and turns, and blades come out. Rapier and dagger, and he slowly begins to advance. But that's the end of his turn. He just pulled himself out and readied himself, and he's strangely silent for some reason. As we cut to Auryn, this guy is about 30 feet away from you across difficult terrain. How do you want to do this?
So I only can move 15 feet, right?
Yeah, in difficult terrain, you're gonna have to navigate around this.
With this portion, he is very much treating this as a gladiator arena situation where he's walking up and the rage is fully taking over, and he walks up the 15 feet and he's just hulking mad and again holding his action. Does anything else happen when he goes into a rage?
Not yet.
Okay. So yeah, he sits there and he waits for. Actually, I could read something.
Wait a minute. So you're moving forward again. You're advancing on this guy 15 feet, but otherwise you're not doing anything else.
You know what I'm gonna do is to show how crazy I am at this person. I am gonna punch myself. Basically, he's taking his fist, like he's holding his great axe out, and he's like holding it like this, and he's pounding his chest fucking hard, like a gladiator thing. Right. And what he's gonna do, mechanically what I'm doing, since I went into a rage. Did my rage start last turn or this?
We're gonna call it started this turn.
It started this turn. Okay, so technically, yeah, I would do that just to be like the whole gladiator kind of thing, not damaging myself because I don't need to do an attack or anything like that right now, do I? To keep the rage going, you need to take damage.
Make an attack action.
Right.
So then, if I need to do damage, then a trick that he learned in the gladiator arena when someone was just being out of reach, because he fought many different types of people, is that he would do the intimidating kind of performance thing. But he's not performing this time. He's actually hitting himself to in hard the show that he's fucking ready for a fight, and at least doing 1 point of damage to himself to keep that anger, that pain, that storm raging inside of him.
All right, give me an intimidation roll and take 1 point of damage. That way, that will keep your rage up. And for that as well, we'll give you the option to intimidate this guy.
Okay. And do I have advantage because I have a silence on me with a crazy Masamune on me?
I'm sorry. Silence, did you actually get on top of him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so your movement is completely restricted. You can't advance that far forward. The ceiling is not that high. Like, it's not high enough, because you're 6 foot tall, right?
I'm 7'2".
Okay, that makes it even more difficult, because even if Silence crouches down, it'll completely restrict his movement and your movement. Because you have to remember that the ceiling is not, it's not like the curved part of the hull. There's actually like a floor that's been built, and that's, you essentially have a roof, and it's not tall. This is meant to be the lower cargo hold. It's not meant for you know capacity of like people at that point. So it's not like,
well, technically, I'm gonna throw this out there. The ship is upside down, right?
That is correct.
And we are at the bottom of the ship.
That is correct.
So the bottom of the ship, where the keel meets, is actually pointed up.
There's a floor
and
on it.
there would be more room technically at the bottom. But if it's 6 feet, it's 6 feet.
It's not 6 feet, but what there is there is a flat floor in order to make it easier to store and manage. So you're not getting the curve of the hull and the keel. what you're getting,
Okay.
what you're getting is a sort of like a box kind of a situation.
Okay. I see where we came in.
Where the
Okay,
sides are
yeah.
curved. So you've come in on the side. You're not coming from the top near the keel. You've come in, sort of on the...
Okay, yeah. Okay, I thought we were by the keel. So, on that note, with silence on me, I would be crouched down. So my movement is like I can't move at all, or I can't move as much.
So if you're crouched down, sure, you can make your way there. I feel like you could still make because it's difficult terrain. I feel like you could still actually move to that particular space. However, for you to be crouched down and attacking, I feel like there's some sort of disadvantage here. Not maybe a disadvantage in respect to attack, but maybe like a -2 to any attacks that you make in this particular case. Like, because your movement is restricted a little bit because of that.
I'm fine with that. Currently then, because I do have a great axe and that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna do the same thing. Like I'm like hulked over then, and then I just have like Silence on my back, who probably has like his giant sword out. Do I get advantage on the intimidation, or is it just straight up roll?
Just roll me a straight intimidation.
8.
Yeah, no, it doesn't really have an impact at all on...
Oh, I'm sorry, 7. I don't have a bonus to charisma.
That's perfectly fine. It doesn't have an impact on him at all. And you can see that he's beginning to focus, and he's just taking the both of you in as he's moving forward. And we're going to cut to Mim.
Mim is back on his feet, and probably towards Sionnach, towards the gaping hole in the side of the ship. And again, he takes the iron rod in his hand and quickly squeezes it and says, "I said stop!" And I'm going to attempt to hold person again now that he is up on top of this side of the ship with us.
And that's where we're going to end it.
Oh, you suck. You suck ass.
Dark Fortunes is an unMadeGaming production and a proud member of the Don't Split the Podcast network. If you would like to learn more about the world of Dark Fortunes and get some behind-the-scenes looks, please join us on Patreon at patreon.com/unMadeGaming. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Thank you for joining us on this high seas adventure, and we'll see you next time on Dark Fortunes.
Hello, it's me, Corbin. Why should you listen to Dames and Dragons D&D Actual Play podcast found on iTunes, Google Play, and more, you ask? Because, my friend, if you're a crow living in a giant featherless body, and who isn't, you will adore this show! It's relatable, it's funny, it's full of crows, mainly one, who is me. It's original, it's fast-paced, it's worms, it's corn chips. I'm hungry. Be sure to listen to Dames and Dragons while I get a snack.